On May 12, 2003, in the quiet town of Starkville, Mississippi, a terrified 13-year-old boy walked into a police station with his mother. His name was Tyler Edmonds, and in just a matter of hours, his world would shatter. Separated from his mother and taken to a sterile interrogation room, Tyler had no idea that his life was about to take a devastating turn. Unaware of the betrayal awaiting him, Tyler was about to be accused of the unthinkable, the murder of his brother-in-law, Joey Fulgham. Even more shocking, the accusation came from someone he trusted deeply, his own sister. This is the chilling story of how a child was manipulated into confessing to a crime he didn't commit, sentenced to life without parole, and left to fight against a system that had already marked him guilty. From betrayal and coercion to resilience and redemption, Tyler's fight for justice reveals the horrifying reality of false confessions and a system quick to condemn the vulnerable. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more true crime stories like this one. The murder of Joey Fulgham. Joey Fulgham was found dead on May 11, 2003, in his home in Starkville. He had been shot in the head at close range. His body was discovered in his bed, wrapped in blood-soaked sheets. The scene was brutal and deliberate, the work of someone who knew him. Joey was only 33 years old. He had a young daughter and was working hard to rebuild his life. His marriage to Christy Fulgham, however, had been tumultuous. Christy had a history of drug abuse, financial issues, and extramarital affairs. Their arguments were no secret. Police had been called to their house several times over the years. The murder stunned the community. Starkville wasn't used to this kind of violence. Everyone wanted answers, and pressure mounted quickly on local law enforcement to find the killer. When police brought in Christy for questioning, she quickly deflected blame, not onto an enemy or a stranger, but onto her own 13-year-old brother. The interrogation of a child. Tyler Edmonds had spent the weekend with Christy. He thought he was just hanging out with his sister, playing video games, watching TV. He had no idea that she was planning something horrifying, or that he would be pulled into it. When police called Christy in for questioning, she shocked detectives by claiming Tyler had helped her commit the murder. She painted a picture of a teenage boy easily manipulated, complicit, and dangerous. According to her, they both entered Joey's room that night and shot him together, their hands on the gun, pulling the trigger in unison. Police acted quickly. They called in Tyler and his mother, Cindy, under the pretense of asking some routine questions. As soon as they arrived at the station, Cindy was separated from her son. Tyler was brought into a sterile interrogation room. No parent, no attorney, just a scared child facing a swarm of trained interrogators. For more than 5 hours, Tyler was grilled by officers. They repeated the same questions. They told him his sister had already confessed. They suggested scenarios. They implied he would go to prison forever unless he admitted what they wanted to hear. Tyler, exhausted and terrified, began to doubt his own memory. Finally, under relentless pressure, he told them what they wanted to hear, that he might have helped his sister, that maybe her hand was on his, and maybe they pulled the trigger together. He cried as he said it. But the damage was done. A child on trial. Tyler Edmonds was arrested for first-degree murder. He was charged as an adult and placed in a juvenile facility awaiting trial. His mother was devastated. His community was shocked. How could a 13-year-old boy commit such a crime? The answer is, he didn't. But in the courtroom, the confession, despite being clearly coerced, was used as the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. The jury was told that Tyler had killed his sister's husband in cold blood, that he had helped her plan it, that he had pulled the trigger. There was no physical evidence linking Tyler to the crime. No fingerprints. No gunshot residue. No blood. No witness. Just the word of a troubled older sister and a confession dragged out of a frightened child. The defense struggled to fight back. Tyler's public defender was under-resourced. Experts weren't called. The science of false confessions was still poorly understood at the time. The jury, hearing the audio of Tyler's broken voice confessing, was convinced. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Growing up behind bars, Tyler was sent to Mississippi State Penitentiary, also known as Pochman Farm, one of the oldest and most dangerous prisons in the country. He was just 14 years old. At Pochman, Tyler was surrounded by hardened criminals. He was a child, yet treated as a man. He faced violence, isolation, and despair. He spent days in solitary confinement. He missed birthdays, holidays, milestones. He lost his childhood, but somehow, he held on to hope. With the help of his mother, Cindy, and a few dedicated advocates, Tyler began to fight back. Law students, journalists, and child rights organizations took interest in his case. They saw what the justice system had overlooked, a vulnerable child railroaded by a flawed system. His mother never gave up. She worked 2 jobs, wrote hundreds of letters, and begged anyone who would listen to look into Tyler's case. Her persistence finally paid off. The science of false confessions. In the years following Tyler's conviction, groundbreaking research into false confessions emerged. Psychologists began to understand how minors, under pressure, can be manipulated into saying things that aren't true. Dr. Richard Leo, one of the leading experts on police interrogations, reviewed Tyler's case. He concluded that Tyler's confession had all the hallmarks of coercion: long interrogation, lack of parental presence, leading questions, and psychological manipulation. New defense attorneys filed appeals, arguing that Tyler's confession was invalid and his rights had been violated. In 2007, the Mississippi Supreme Court reviewed the case. They found that the confession was not corroborated by any physical evidence. They ruled that it had likely been coerced and could not be considered reliable. Tyler Edmonds' conviction was overturned. After 4 years behind bars, he was finally free. Life after exoneration. Tyler was released in September 2008, at the age of 17. But freedom didn't mean peace. He had missed his formative years. He struggled to reintegrate into society. He dealt with PTSD, anxiety, and the stigma of being labeled a murderer, even after being cleared. He kept a low profile, trying to rebuild his life in the shadow of trauma. But Tyler didn't stop at survival. He chose to speak out. He became an advocate for juvenile justice reform. He began working with organizations focused on wrongful convictions and the rights of children in the legal system. He spoke at schools, conferences, and legal panels. His message was simple: children deserve protection, not prosecution. Meanwhile, Christy Fulgham remained on death row. Her betrayal of her own brother was something Tyler never fully recovered from. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a case that needs to be heard.